Hello everybody, thank you very much for joining me today for another Twilight Zone video in my Twilight Zone review series, where I rank every episode of the original Twilight Zone from my least favorite to my favorite. Today I'm going to be talking about number 65, Where is Everybody?, written by Rod Serling and directed by Robert Stevens. This is a season 1 episode, and as always there will be spoilers. So, Where is Everybody was actually the first Twilight Zone episode ever on television, so it basically acted as a pilot episode for the show. Now, Where is Everybody is important because this episode needed to be good to get audiences hooked on the show, and I do think it's a very solid episode, and if this episode wouldn't have drawn people in, Twilight Zone may not have succeeded. So, Where is Everybody, I would definitely say, is not quite an all-time classic, but it does a lot of things very right. Earl Holliman gives an excellent performance as Mike Ferris. He has to, because he has to carry the majority of the episode by himself until the very last part of the episode, and he does a great job in my opinion. So the plot is pretty basic. There's this man Mike, and he's in a town all alone, and he doesn't know where he is or where everyone else is. It's a very basic premise, but I think it works. I also think it was smart to have a fairly basic premise for the premiere episode. And I think it's a tribute to Rod Serling's script and Earl Holliman's performance that Mike is an easy character to get invested in. His story is interesting. Robert Stevens' direction is also solid. So we follow this man as he goes through this town, examining different things and trying to figure out what's going on. At one point he comes across a mannequin, which is interesting. He also winds up in a diner and a movie theater, things like that, until he finally collapses. So the episode does a good job of building suspense and tension, in my opinion, as we get to the twist of the episode that Mike is actually in some kind of isolation booth. He is being observed, and the whole thing is like a simulation to find out if Mike can handle being up in outer space by himself. So it turns out he's been in this booth a long time, and that's what caused this type of hallucination or alternate world in his mind, I guess, however you want to look at it. So Mike goes off in a stretcher and knows he will be in space at some point in time in the future. So this is a mysterious and impactful ending that still works for me. I thought it was very well done, and it must have had an impact on audiences at the time, I would guess. So one thing that is a bit overdone in this episode, one flaw, is that the character talks out loud probably a little bit too much. It's a little bit overdone. There's no reason for this, as there's no one for him to talk to other than for him to tell us his thoughts as an audience. Like I said, I think this could have been presented in a better way. Still, it doesn't take too much away from the episode, and Where is Everybody is a strong premiere episode of the show that still holds up, and it gave fans a little idea of what they would be watching with the Twilight Zone in the future. I think this episode is still entertaining, especially for being mostly a one-man show. And while it's not an all-time classic, I do think Where is Everybody is a successful Twilight Zone episode, and that's why it comes in at number 65 on the list. As always, feel free to let me know what you thought of this episode, Where is Everybody? If you liked it or not. Thanks for your support, and thanks for watching.